Michelangelo di Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni, also known as Il Divino or the Divine One, was born on March 6, 1475 in Caprice, Italy, where his father was serving as a Florentine government agent. Before Michelangelo was even 1 month old, his family moved back to Florence. He was sent to a school of grammar, but he spent most of his time there drawing instead of writing. His father tried to discourage him from pursuing art because he viewed such a career as below the family's social status. However, Michelangelo prevailed and was apprenticed at the age of 13 to Domenico Ghirlandaio, a fashionable painter in Florence at the time. He stayed with Ghirlandaio for 1 year, learning very important basics on the art of fresco, which would prove to be a huge help later on in his career. Michelangelo's Pieta helped shape his career and his future as an artist. It shows the scene where the Virgin Mary is holding the dead body of Christ after being crucified. It was originally created to be a funeral monument for the French cardinal at the time. The Pieta is the only piece of art Michelangelo himself signed. He swore to never sign another work because it felt similar to bragging or boasting, and he did not want to seem selfish.
Michelangelo said he carved the Pieta on the most perfect block of marble he had ever seen. This work of art was special even during the Renaissance because multi-figured sculptures were rare. The two figures are carved as to form a unified composition, forming the shape of a pyramid. It is said that the pyramid is made to symbolize the Trinity. The proportions of the two figures are unequal. It appears as if the Virgin Mary would tower over her son if they were to stand up. The Virgin Mary is also depicted as a beautiful young lady, rather than the older woman she really was at the time.
The Pieta was brutally attacked by a man in 1972. He leapt over the guardrails with a hammer and struck the statue 12 times, knocking off Mary's left arm and damaging her face. The attacker was deemed socially dangerous and was sent to live in a mental hospital for 2 years. Soon after his release, he was deported. Ever since the restoration of the beautiful piece of art, it has been held behind bulletproof glass to prevent any more incidents from occurring. The statue of David is one of the masterpieces created by Michelangelo. It was created between 1501 and 1504. This statue depicts the biblical hero before battling the formidable Goliath in order to protect his city. David is sculpted as a tall, nude, muscular male carrying only a sling as a weapon. Michelangelo carved David to make him look determined and ready to battle. David won this fight and saved his city from an invasion. When Michelangelo constructed this famous work, Italy was in awe. The statue was created with extremely precise detail. It is said that Michelangelo even dissected human bodies to learn the anatomy. He would then include his findings into his sculptures. This is extremely apparent in the statue of David, especially when you view his hands or his muscle structure. He took the idea of realism, which is representing someone or something just as it is in real life, to another level. The statue may appear simple, it's just a man standing looking off to the side. But looking closely and more in depth will show just how complex and thorough the statue of David truly is.
In 1508, Pope Julius II hired Michelangelo to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, which had previously been painted blue and covered with golden stars. Prior to this time, Michelangelo had gained his fame through his work as a sculptor, with his great works such as the Pieta and the David. Two artistic rivals of Michelangelo, the painter Raphael and the architect Donato Bramante, persuaded the Pope to have Michelangelo paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. This was an attempt to discredit the young artist. Michelangelo, however, would not fail to amaze everyone with his magnificent creation. The ceiling of the chapel is centered around scenes from the Old Testament, beginning with the creation of the world and ending with the story of Noah and the flood. In addition to the scenes from the Old Testament, Michelangelo also included paintings of Old Testament prophets and sibyls. One of the most notable sibyls is the Libyan Sibyl. The muscles in her body show such power and strength, and the way she twists and turns shows such beauty and elegance. Michelangelo creates these sensational 3D figures that look very similar to the sculptures that he had been more well known for previously. Michelangelo's influence on the Renaissance was unmatched by any other before him. His understanding of the human body was truly outstanding. Michelangelo's lifelike sculptures and paintings were very influential to other Renaissance artists. They began to imitate his work and eventually developed into an art movement known as Mannerism. Mannerist painters exaggerated the proportions of the human body. Michelangelo also had an enormous impact on the humanist movement during the Renaissance. He revived ancient Greek and Roman aspects of art, and inspired other artists to paint more secular works of art. In Michelangelo's works of art, he made a hero out of man rather than God.